Howdy everyone, this is Roaming Prepper. I am your host Pete, and today I gotta tell you I'm just exhausted of a lot of things. But there's something I saw the other day. It just popped in my head again, and when I saw it, I was wondering, what in God's name are you doing? And I didn't see this on a video, I didn't see it on TikTok or Twitter or YouTube. I saw it 30 feet from me. And I'm wondering, what the hell is wrong with you? So I'm going to talk about that, not just what I saw, but what lies behind it. So I'll be right back while I throw some sugar in my coffee, and we'll talk about that, because I think it's important that we as preparedness folks have this conversation. Hang on just a second. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining me again. As you can tell by my voice, I'm just tired. My whole week schedule went down the garbage. I'm falling asleep at midnight, waking up at 4. But then the thing that woke me up at 4 got canceled, so I was up for no reason. And people call me late and then realize that, well, I already emailed them what they needed. And this exhaustion of mine kind of plays into the bigger picture. What I'm talking about is everyone is stressed out. Countries are stressed out. Nations, politicians, the news reporters, and people in general in society are freaking out. And I speak mainly of the Western society, because folks from the really impoverished nations, be it in Africa, South America, Haiti, Middle East, right now they're just trying to put bread on the table so their kids can eat. And I think that's a perspective we all need to maintain, that things could be infinitely worse. And that's why we're preppers, because we know this, right? We acknowledge, wow, this could get really freaking bad. But what I witnessed, and that was from my intro, so I was driving across town. I was actually headed to work late. I had a conference call that was super early, so I just took it at the house. And then I went to the gym, got dressed, and I was like, all right, I'm headed to the office now since you woke my ass up early. And I'm at a traffic light, right? And it's relatively mid-morning, so you're relatively early, say like 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'd been taking calls and doing work from the house early, and I'm like, okay, I'll go into the office, check in with the boss, see if anything else is going on. And I'm stopped in traffic, and there's construction, and there's a red light. And it just so happens this particular intersection has a Sam's, an H-E-B, a big H-E-B, not the little one. Those of you from down south know what a big H-E-B looks like. And it's where two highways meet, so you have a fair amount of traffic. And there's construction, so nobody's going anywhere. The light's freaking red anyway. And I hear honking about 3 cars ahead of me. And I have a habit of not getting right up on the butt of the person in front of me. So I was about a car length away. The guy behind me was pulling a trailer, so he was giving me some room, probably because he can't stop on a dime. So he's going to give himself a little bit of safety space, which is smart, right? And you also do that for security reasons. Something happens, I have room to turn my wheel and, bug out of the street and go in the dirt if I have to. But anyway, we're in traffic. And I see a guy walking across the traffic. And it was a tall, thin guy. And I'm thinking maybe he's a panhandler or a pedestrian trying to run across the street now that the traffic's stuck. Or maybe he's, I've seen people where family members park near each other, and like somebody from this car is like, shit, I need to get in that car, and they run across to go in their friend's car. So I didn't think anything of it. I just see a guy running across traffic, and the traffic is stopped. So I'm like, all right, he's trying to get somewhere. All of a sudden I look, because he stops and turns around and starts yelling, and I can hear the yelling over the music, and I was playing Disturbed, so it was not quiet music. or POD. I don't remember who I was playing, Puddle of Mud, but it was alternative rock. It was kind of loud. And he starts punching another car. Mind you, not kicking the tires or smacking the hood or anything. No, he's legit like just punching the driver's side window of another vehicle. And no one was going anywhere. So it's like, if this person, you think this person cut you off, it's because she had nowhere to go. And this was a guy, and I think it was a woman in the car, and he's just laying into, I mean, he's hitting it hard with bare hands. And he's wearing shorts and a regular shirt. He didn't look like, you know, homeless guy or a crack hitter. And actually, it's funny because there is a regular panhandler that kind of hangs out there and sells newspapers. And she looked up, grabbed her newspapers in her little bucket and her little sign, the newspapers for $1 or something. And she's like, no, fuck this. And she started walking away. And this guy's hitting, and he must have hit this car not once. He must have punched this side window about 10, 15 times. Like, he was there long enough for me to go, holy crap, reach over, grab my phone, actually flip the camera open. But just as I was going to try to start filming, he finally left. So it was a good 90 seconds. He was hitting this other person's car, punching the windows. He just mugged the car. And then he goes back to, I guess, his vehicle, because I didn't see him on the side of the road. The light changes and everyone goes. And I was going kind of slow because I'm like, I want to see who this guy is, but he was gone. So I'm assuming he got back in his vehicle. And the person next to me was a mom with her kids in like a minivan. And when I saw him punching, I look at her and she's like, and the teenagers, and then they look at me and we're all like, what the hell is going on? He's punching a car. What the hell? That made, ladies and gentlemen, that made no sense. Why would you punch a car with your bare hands? That's absolutely insane. On top of that, legally speaking, let's back up for a second. Legally speaking, if I go and smack your rearview mirror off, I'm not threatening, endangering you directly. I've done property damage. You come out and shoot me, even in Texas, because I kicked your car, you're going to go to jail. Because the grand jury is going to be, your life was not in danger, right? You were inside your vehicle. They damaged your car. You could have them arrested for harassment. You can sue them for damages, or your insurance can sue them, but you can't go and shoot a guy for kicking your car, right? Especially in broad daylight. But if that guy, first of all, I don't know how he didn't bust up a knuckle because he was hitting hard. And not open-handed, like he was with knuckles hitting the windshield. But I'm thinking to myself, my God, buddy, I don't know, first of all, I don't know what the hell happened that you would act like that. You obviously are like absolutely distraught. And the guy didn't seem like the type who'd be nutty. Like some people, you look at them and you're like, you're not right. No, he just looked like a normal person. And he went back in his little car and drove off, and I'm sitting here going, why would you do this? If he would have broken the window, at that point, at least here in Texas, you have breached the vehicle, and the castle doctrine now applies. Okay, so for those of you unfamiliar, because there's difference between stand your law and castle. In Texas, we don't have a stand your ground law. We have a castle doctrine, which is different. So a stand your ground law is I can be going wherever and someone threatens me and I don't have to retreat or turn my back. I can escalate, basically. I'm under no obligation to retreat. Texas is different. Texas says we expect you to de-escalate or leave the scene unless there's certain criteria. One, someone you're with, i.e. your child or loved one, has become incapacitated or is incapable of running away or de-escalating or decoupling from the situation, and you must stay for that person, right? Two, you cannot retreat from your house or your car because that is your castle. Where the hell are you going to go from your car? Into the street? That's worse. So the state of Texas acknowledges inside your home or inside your car, pretty much 24/7, to my understanding, is castle. So had he gone and knocked her rearview mirror off or kicked the car and, tore up the front end or something, technically speaking, she couldn't react. Had that window broken and she pepper sprayed him, shot him, or panicked and just ran the guy over, she would not be at fault more than likely because he breached the vehicle. I don't know if I'm doing a good job explaining the difference between the castle and the stand your ground, but in the castle doctrine, you're expected, if you're in a public place, to retreat or withdraw unless you have no other option to do so. I.e., your kids are with you or somebody has already been hurt and you don't want to abandon them. But once you breach a vehicle, that's bad, because no court in Texas and most states except for California and New York would say, well, he's in your vehicle and he's breached the vehicle. Now you're in danger because he can access you. Had he broken that window, he probably would have gotten shot or run over. The girl might have just freaked out. But it goes to the question, why in God's name are you doing this, buddy? Why would you go and punch someone's car in broad daylight? It wasn't a drunk coming out, I'm going to punch a pickup truck. No, this freaking guy went and punched a minivan full of family. Why? What? Nobody was going anywhere. There was nowhere to go. And this is the crux of what I'm saying. There's so many things happening to so many people. Mortgage issues, and people can't pay bills. They're getting laid off. People getting sick. International stresses, financial stresses. Everything's going on. And we've become such an alert society, or such a connected one, that anything that happens goes around the world within a day, if not within hours. You never know how people are going to react. I make it a habit. So, a lot of you guys don't know me personally. Some of you have met me personally or have engaged me personally. I'm that guy who I will go in the checkout line, and when I get to the cashier, I will ask them, how you doing today? Every time. Or good afternoon, good morning. I have had some that I could see in their faces were not that girl that day. They were just no. And I will still ask them, how are you doing? And one of them gave me a look. And I said, you having one of those weeks too, huh? And she smiled. She goes, yeah. I said, well, I hope it gets better. I don't know what your situation is, but, I'll say a prayer for you. What good my prayers do. And she looked at me and said, thank you. That actually helped me. Not even 3 seconds, 3 minutes, whatever, of a cordial conversation with a stranger who was just doing her job. I was checking out. She was ringing me up. Made a difference, even in a small way. At least she could say, wow, there was a nice person out here today. And it's difficult to do. I know a lot of you reach out to me. You guys are everyone, you guys and girls are all struggling with stuff. Take a minute, one, to back away from the media. Take it with a grain of salt. To me, I try to compartmentalize it as data. I'm an engineer. I like information. It's data. Oh, the president of Turkey is sick. Another video. Data. Oh, somebody got beat up. Data. And I put it in my pocket for later use, right? I don't take it typically very personally, but not everyone can. And people may be going through really hard times. So folks, it's a difficult thing to do, but in the scripture, the Lord said, I'm going to paraphrase because I'm going to massacre this scripture. Essentially, don't be ugly to other people. Be kind to the foreigner. And back in the day, the word foreigner wasn't like, oh, he comes from, McMuffin land over there. This was someone different than you. I'm here in Texas. You came from Chicago. Technically, you're a foreigner because you came from somewhere else. Not that Chicagoans are not Americans, but you get my picture. Someone from somewhere else. Be kind to them. And lead with that and then see where it goes. And it's tough to do because I will tell you right now this week, I am frustrated. I am tired. I'm pissed at people in my circle, out of my circle, people on the social media who just have nothing better to do than be asses. So I'm simply choosing to remove the asses from my life, and the other people, I'm going to take the high road unless I have no choice but to take another one. And As someone has often said, you know, be kind to everyone, be prepared to do violence to every one of them. It's an odd oxymoron, but it makes sense. Folks, people are under a lot of stress. Don't assume that everybody's having a good day, or a bad day for that matter, but be mindful of the signs of people who are not doing well. Like that guy punching the car, clearly bad day, right? For whatever reason. But you can pick up those signs, like my cashier. You look at them and you're like, wow, you don't, good morning, knowing full well she's probably not having a good morning. Take that time to not only reach out to your fellow man and woman, but also to observe what's going on. And to end this, pay attention to your surroundings, okay? The woman who was in the car that was being attacked, she jumped. When the guy started hitting the car, I could see, you know, through the rear window because there were multiple cars, so I was kind of squinting to see. She jumped, like you could see her back away from the windshield. That may not have been my reaction. I might have been startled. I might have rolled forward to get away from him and run him over by accident, you know. He's freaking out between vehicles. The other guy in the other lane may not have been paying attention at all. He could have been distracted. His boss called him, and he could have rolled forward and run him over with the truck with the trailer. Pay attention to your surroundings. Pay attention because people are wound up, they're stressed out, and you never know who it is going to freak out next. But at the same time, even little acts of respect and civility can go a long way in changing the dynamic in your circle and in your community. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. On the one hand, you don't want to drop your guard, but on the flip side, you don't want to make it worse by walking around in a puffed up state all the time, because that doesn't help either. But folks, watching this guy punch a car with bare hands, so many things went through my head. Like, one, you're gonna break your hand. Two, if that window breaks, she might shoot you, and she'd be completely legally allowed to do so, or certainly would have a lot of justification because she's got kids in the car. The kids are now traumatized for whatever offense happened in the damn traffic that nobody was going anywhere anyway. I'm seeing a lot of weird. I'm seeing a lot of people who are not meth heads, who are not crackheads, who are not rapists or serial killers. We're not talking about Ted Bundy or Charles Manson. We're talking about Joe Schmo or Susie Salad going to freaking work, and they lose their marbles, cut someone off and hit someone's kid, or they lose their biscuits and start a fist fight at Starbucks. I don't know. Well, I know what's going on is everyone's balled up and they're losing their marbles. So folks, we need to be the ones, as the preparedness community, as the vigilant community, to pay attention to what the hell is going on. So one, we're not the one losing our biscuits. We have to take things in moderation, take things as a whole picture and not freak out over things. And I preach this a lot in my videos. But also, two, pay attention to who's around you and look for those signs, the tense body language, the verbal cues, the behavioral cues. Is it really worth arguing over the damn parking spot? And then someone's hurt 5 minutes later, and you're going to look back and wonder, wow, that didn't make a hell of a lot of sense. That was absolutely pointless. Which is probably why he was angry. He got cut off or something, and that was his reaction. I will tell you, if he broke the window and she pepper sprayed him or shot him, that would have been a very legitimate reaction to a female in a car with a big dude breaking in her window in broad daylight. I mean, pay attention to this, because there's a lot of this insanity going on. And unfortunately, I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. So one, like I said, lead with civility, but be prepared for uncivility if necessary. And 2, pay attention to what's around you, more so now, and especially as we go into the second half of the year with the mortgage rates and the new fees they're applying, which is a whole nother soapbox for me, and political tensions and election tensions, and this guy's getting indicted and that guy's getting indicted. It's very easy to put yourself in a dark place. Don't do it. Take care of yourself, your health, your wellness, your fitness, your diet. Take care of your circle and be vigilant of the ones around you. But don't lead with puffery unless you really have to. And this is going to be a tough order, right? It's going to be a tall order for me and for all of you, because I can get puffed up in a heartbeat. I mean, I got the Latin temper and everything. But you got to remember, is it really worth it? I want to save those occasions for when I absolutely have no other choice. So folks, really bizarre seeing somebody attack another vehicle in broad daylight and nobody was moving. Like, I don't understand what the offense was. It makes no sense to me that we were all sitting there in traffic for minutes before he suddenly comes out and beats up another car. Why would you punch a car? That makes no sense either. Anyway, folks, pay attention to what's going on out there. It's absolutely been surreal. And with my travel, I guess I'm observing more than my fair share of it. And it's exhausting. And I'll be honest, in the coming weeks, you may not see me online as much as you normally do. Just because I'm tired. And it's not you guys. You all and I, we're all kind of in that same space. It's just looking at all this shit. Who punches someone's car? For no reason. In broad daylight. I don't get it. Not that you should punch it in the night. That's not much better. You shouldn't punch a car. Anyway, folks, be careful out there. Take care of yourselves. And God bless, Godspeed. I will see you all later. And try to help each other out. Like I said, lead with civility. And be prepared for the uncivilized if necessary. You guys take care.